Assalamu alaikum, I am Miada Sofia Mamaluba from the Group 5, which is The Last Reporter. And the title of my report is all about the Native American oppression. Dr. Franz Fanon works provide invaluable insight into the psychology of colonial oppression in Allegheny. So too can his theories be generalized to explain the plight of other colonially oppressed individuals. Fanon analysis can be used to analyze and understand nations. Similar to the oppression in Allegheny by the friends of the indigenous Native American of North America were first to endure countless massacre. So noong 1953 na magpunta si Fanon sa Allegheny, as a head of psychiatry at the Bella Joinville Hospital in Allegheny, Fanon was appalled by the difference in living standards between the European colonizers and the indigenous population. So, nung nagpunta si Fanon sa Allegheny, dun niya nakita yung difference between the European colonizer and the indigenous population na kung saan malaki yung pagkakaiba nila na nade-discriminate yung indigenous people. At ang kanyang mga gawa ay napakahalaga sa psychology and colonial oppression in Allegheny na kung saan natuklasan niya na may discrimination between French and the indigenous Native American of North America, and also the harassment na if kabilang ka sa mga indigenous people, doon ay mahihirapan o pahihirapan ka rin nila. So, yun yung isa sa mga struggle na naranasan nila. Kabilang na rin dito yung pagnanakaw sa kanilang mga lupain and also the violence na kung saan maraming massacre ang kanilang pinagdaan. Franz Fanon is a member of the Front de Liberation National or the FLN during the Allegheny Revolution. So si Franz Fanon ay isa sa sumusulong para matulungan ang individual na biktima ng colonization and become a foremost authority on the oppression related to the colonization. So pinakakilala din siya sa authority in the oppression na siya ang nagtrabaho at as a psychiatrist noong Allegheny Revolution. Fanon treated many patients suffering from what he believed to be oppression related in the mental health. So marami sa patient ang kanyang ginamot na kung saan ito na yung mga patient na nagsasuffer from what he believed to be oppression na related sa mental health. The Trial of Tears in 1838, the federal government started to force the Native American off their land because they were a threat to peace and American wanted their fertile land. So noong 1838, ang federal government ay nagsimulang piliting paalisin ang mga Native American dahil nga sa pananakot sa kanilang lugar at sa kagustuhan na makuha ang kanilang lupain. At dahil doon, marami ring namatay na Native American dahil hindi kinaya ang lamig ng panahon noong sila ay piliting paalisin sa kanilang lugar. So, yun yung isa sa pinaka malaking struggle na pinagdaanan ng mga Native American. The Wounded Knee Massacre. During the 1860s, the prominent U.S. Army General Philip Sheridan announced to Tusawi, chief of the Comanche, the massacre at Wounded Knee on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota is one of the most well-known and brutal massacres in the history of the Native American. So, ang Wounded Knee Massacre is ito na yung away sa pagitan ng North America Lakota people and the representative of the U.S. government na kung saan nasa hundreds of Lakota men, women, and children ang namatay. At kaya siya tinawag na brutal massacre na kung saan kapag tumigil ang shooting is 100 of Lakota women, men, and children ang namamatay. So ganun karami yung namamatay noong Wounded Knee Massacre. Conclusion. Throughout the course of his life and work, Frantz Fanon employed his thoughts and analysis toward the multifarious components of colonialism. Colonization can have detrimental effects on the identity and psyche of the indigenous people. And sa buong course of his life and work, Frantz Fanon employed his thought and analysis toward the multifarious components of colonialism, na kung saan ang colonization ay maaaring puminsala sa indigenous people. The struggle endured by the indigenous Algonquian and Native American are not that of category taken lightly and must be understood psychologically to ensure the well-being of these indigenous people, to aid in the prevention of such catastrophes in the future. Until this psychological grief is resolved, high rates of mental illness, violence, homicide will plague the Native American people. And also, mas marami pang struggle ang pinagdaanan ng American people during the European colonization. And that's all. Shukran and assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.